Yo, yo, yo. Surreal Talk Radio, your man, Calico the Surrealist on WPRK 91.5 FM Winter Park, kicking it at the dark with our special guests. Yes, indeed, we got a hot show tonight. We're going to set things off with my surreal topic of the day. Got music from around the way. We got the throwback track, and my favorite part over all of that is the pump it or dump it. Y'all get to call in, talk to us about the music we playing and everything we saying right here on Surreal Talk Radio. All right, man, tonight, man, special guest chilling with us tonight, man. This brother right here is a hip-hop pioneer, certified hit maker, award winner, man, with timeless, I'm talking about classic hip-hop records, man, you know what I'm saying? He does so much more for the culture. We got the legendary KRS-ONE on the line. What's going on, big dog?
It is all good, man, and wow, yeah, it's here. Here we are, 2026. It's only been 40 years.
My man, hey man, it's so good to have you on the phone, bro. And before we even get started, first of all, man, I want to thank you so much for doing our show, helping us grow the platform, man.
Oh, absolutely. And I thank you for your the way in which you approached our management. It means a lot.
My man, yeah, speaking of which, man, big shout out to my man Big Earl. Shout out to my man Angel Zulu for putting me on. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a good one. Man, let's get it started with my surreal topic of the day. My topic tonight is owning our hip hop. Right? I'm gonna talk about from rapping to dancing to the way that we talk. You know what I'm saying? I wanna ask you about owning all of that. And before you speak, man, I want to quote Nas. Nas got a lyric where he said, yo, I was thinking a little bit. What would it take to authenticate my nigga-ness? You know what I'm saying? I thought that was so dope. Yeah, man, I want to get your thoughts, man, on you know, just you the teacher, man. I just want to sit back in the student seat, man, and hear you speak about what it is about owning our hip-hop from your perspective.
Wow. Well, you know, well, first of all, shout out to Nas. That was a nice line right there.
I love that. Yeah.
That was not bad. That was not bad. It's deep, too. We don't even have time to talk about that. But we'll come back to ownership. As a matter of fact, now that you said that, let me grab a copy of the Gospel of Hip Hop. There was something that was being said in this book. The Gospel of Hip Hop, of course, is a book that we put together in 2009, and while I look for this quote, let me say this at the top: that obviously you're talking to the culture, you're talking to a cultural architect as opposed to just a rapper in that sense. And I say that respectfully, you know, not just a rapper, but I do more than obviously spit lyrics
for sure,
over boom bap beats. But I say that at the beginning for our listeners so that they have some context as to where we're going with this. Your question is deep. It's deeper than just a quick answer. How do we own our hip hop? Let me start with reality itself. Let's start with the truth. Let's start with the facts. First and foremost, hip hop is a culture. It is not a music form. It includes music. Hip hop is breaking or breakdancing, MCing or graffiti art, DJing, I could actually, let me just go ahead and give you the hard. I don't want to be too long-winded. Breaking, MCing, graffiti art, DJing, beatboxing, street fashion, street language, street knowledge, and street entrepreneurialism, which is business, trade, and all of that, and the unique way we do it in the street. These 9 elements is hip-hop. This is what it is. This is how it's expressed in the world. Now, you can't own a culture. You are the culture. So the beginning of the answer to your question, or the beginning of the answer to your question is, first of all, those who want to own, using that word, have more ownership of their hip hop, of their performances, of their ideas, their identity. First, you have to become the culture in order to own it. You can't own a culture but you can become a culture, and in the becoming of the culture, there's where your ownership is. Going further with that, you have, in terms of owner, now let me say this, that was more of a philosophical, that's true. That's the core. What is hip hop? Why is hip hop? Who are you in hip hop as hip hop? You adopt the culture. This is why we say I am hip hop. Because we're not representing it, or I mean, you are always representing it, but you're not distant from it. You're not objective to it. It's not like there's you and then there's hip hop. You are the culture. Hip hop is you, and you are it. So again, the ownership comes from you becoming your culture, or becoming more and more every day your culture. But this is where the problem starts right here. And this is now takes us to the second part, because most people just want to use hip hop. They don't want to be it. And this is where the question then comes in about your ownership. If you want to own hip hop, then you're treating it like a commodity. You're treating it like an object that can be owned. Hip hop is not an object, it's a subject. So you can't own it. If you don't own subjects you have to understand. You can adopt. It's a subject. It's not physical. Hip hop doesn't appear anywhere in the physical world. It doesn't appeal to your five senses. None of it. Hip hop never enters the physical world. We all understand hip hop psychically or culturally. That's how we understand it. You can't go to hip hop. You can't eat hip hop. You can't drink hip hop. You can't even see it. Or hear it in that sense. It's an attitude. It's a behavior. So to own a behavior is to become the behavior. But again, if you don't want to be hip hop, then now the ownership question comes now to the products that hip hop creates. Now the products that hip hop creates, CDs, no, I'm sorry, maybe I'm dating myself now, but we used to have something called vinyl records, CDs, cassettes, T-shirts, books. These are items. These are material items that hip-hop produces. The behavior produces. The culture produces these items. These items are not hip-hop. They are the items produced by hip-hop. But the items in and of themselves are not hip-hop. They are the material effects of the culture itself. Now, this you can own. And there's all sorts of laws and copyright, trademark, and every other kind of law that comes in that protects inventors. It protects inventors from having their inventions stolen. But here's the thing. If you don't take your culture seriously, then anybody can steal your invention at all. It doesn't matter. I mean, people have copyrights all day. People have copyrights all day. People, like there's trademark infringements all the time. Just because you have a trademark doesn't mean you're protected. Just because you have a copyright doesn't mean you're protected. You can have the copyright, you can have the trademark, full ownership of whatever it is you invented, but somebody can still come and steal your ideas. Now, what you have is you can go to court, and you have some leverage, some power to go to court and argue your case, but they still stole your stuff. They still took it. It's an item. It still can be taken. Mm-hmm. Again, so culture, once you become a culture, nobody could ever take that from you. And this is what we did with the I am hip hop philosophy. We started in 92, where we said, I am hip hop. And we did this deliberately because corporate media was trying to own hip hop for itself. It tried to say that everything that it wanted to make money on was hip hop. And I mean, people don't remember this now because we put an end to it. But back, in the early, or really through the whole 80s, going into parts of the 90s, corporate media wanted to label hip hop or they wanted to own it. They wanted to label it what they could label it to make money. And so the real culture stood up and said, no, we are the culture. And then that slogan went out throughout the community. And that's what's really saving the culture, or saved the culture, still protecting the culture to this day. Even corporate is saying that they are the culture. Even corporate has to say we are the culture, or we're representing the culture, or we're doing this for the culture. And no, they're not. They're trying to sell you something. So but let
me ask you something right quick based on what you just said. When you speak about a corporate, identify that for me, just for the listeners.
The place you work at, the radio station that you work at is an enemy to hip hop.
Okay.
Not you, but the station, the corporate media that any radio station that is in operation under the FCC is an enemy to this culture. Any of them. And it goes for television as well. And not an enemy. And again, I say this respectfully. I'm only speaking truth. The truth is they're never going to be the culture. So they can only extract from it. It's like being a cat. You want milk. You don't blame the cat for wanting milk. You don't blame a dog for wanting a bone. You don't blame corporate media for exploiting culture.
That's deep, bro. That's deep. Keep going. That's deep. I just wanted to say that.
Well, this is what it does. This is what it does. And again, let me also say this. You've got to understand this in order to navigate hip hop in the world, because it is both. The culture benefits by way of corporate, and corporate benefits by way of culture. And one eats off the other. It's just that culture is the originator. Culture is the mother. Culture is the truth. That's where everything's coming from. The music coming out of culture. The art coming out of culture. The dances coming out of culture. You know, these are perspectives. These are not just dances or rapping. This is our worldview. This is how we see the world. So this comes out of culture. Now, the corporate side, go back to this ownership question. Mm-hmm. I have my quote here, and I'm just going to read you this. I'm going to read you this. I'm going to try to read as much of it as I can, because we're recording this, so this will be good just to actually have. Let me just read this. I'm reading from the Gospel of Hip Hop, and I'm on page 88. So it reads. It says, in the United States, human beings are thought to have certain inalienable rights that are natural to the existence of a human being. In his book, Cases and Materials on the Law of Real Property, law professor Ray Andrews Brown writes, quote, man, by virtue of his very existence, is endowed with certain natural desires and claims. Among the most common and apparent of these are the freedom of his body from injury or restraint, the exercise of his faculties in order that he may obtain the material things essential to his life and comfort, and the possession and enjoyment of these physical things of the world which he has brought under his control. Now, this is the first part this is the first part that deals with culture as well. On the rock bottom level, what do we want? We want freedom from injury, freedom from restraint. Don't harm me and don't stop me. Now, move to the next part. It says, and this is now talking about property, quote, in a legal sense, land is not property, but the subject of property. The term property, although in common parlance frequently applies to a tract of land or a chattel, like, some sort of property, cattle, chattel, in its legal significance means only the right of the owner in relation to it, meaning property is not material things. Property is your right to material things. So if property in land, this is a quote again, if property in land consists of certain essential rights, and a physical interference with land substantially subverts one or more of those rights. Such interference takes the owner's property. Now, what we're talking about here is what do I want? I want freedom from injury, and I don't want to be restrained in your actions, in your speech, in however you're dealing with me. Don't restrain me and don't injure me. Now, when in fact you are a culture yourself, it's not that the culture is your property. You are the culture. But if you can't use your culture to your advantage, they took it from you.
Right. Yeah.
So again, what is property? Property is not material goods. It's not what you can possess. That's not the legal term for property. The legal term for property is your access to material goods. Can you use that? In the legal sense, use is ownership. Again, use is ownership. Anything that you are using, you own. Now, most people don't see ownership this way. They say, I have to possess it. I have to have the physical thing with me. No. I'm in a hotel right now as I speak to you. I own the room that I'm in. Not because I paid for it. That's another kind of ownership, a temporary ownership in that sense. Mm-hmm. No, I own the room because I'm using it. Anything you can't use, you don't own, even if you own it in material. Even if you have a material thing, if you can't if you can't use it, you don't own it. A broken car is useless. That means you really don't own it. Like, think about that. Anytime your car breaks down and you cannot use it anymore, you got to take it to a mechanic, you got to do something, flat tire, something got to happen for you to be able to use this car. If you cannot use that car, the moment you can't use the car, it is not your property anymore, even if you own it. Because the legal term, the legal application for the word property is use. Now, the other side to this is, if you can't use your culture in the way in which you are not injured or hindered, stopped, stagnated in any way, if you can't use your culture in that way, then they took it from you. They took your property. Whatever is stopping you from using your culture in your way has took your property. They took your culture. So in one breath, all these people out here, 90% of the music that is played on mainstream radio, most of those artists have had their culture taken from them. The culture is not taken because every individual is the culture. It is you that give up your own birthright. You, in ignorance too, and I say not ignorance like in a derogatory way, just don't know. You just don't know. So
lack of knowledge, yeah.
In ignorance, you just say, yo, somebody's offering me some money. I get to get on stage. I become popular. I become this, all at the expense of your culture, meaning go around the other side. So you say, you a radio DJ, not you, I'm saying anybody.
Yeah.
You're a radio DJ. As a matter of fact, let me say radio DJ. You're an MC. Okay, let me start here. You're a rapper. You're an MC. Words come out of your mouth. Okay, you rap it. So you say, I think the war in Gaza is bullshit, and we need a full clip. Now, if somebody comes to you and says, you can't say that on this radio station, you can, or this television show, or in this book, or in this movie, or whatever, you can't say that. But you say, no, wait a minute. My culture says I can say that. My culture doesn't agree with the war in Gaza. My culture would make a rhyme about, well, no, you can't do that here. Then they took your culture. They didn't deny you your culture because you are the culture. They are denying you use of your culture in their environment.
Yes.
That's how they take your culture. That's how they took it. They took it right there because they're going to use your culture the way they want to and deny you from using it the way you want to. That's how they take culture. And so those who stand up for the culture own it outright. Own it outright. We own it. So the ownership is I am it. I am it. Okay? You're coming like how can you own, Hindus? Who owns Hindus? Who owns Jews? Who owns Christians? Who owns these people? Nobody. Even the Vatican, which is supposed to be the highest order of the Christian faith, they don't own Christianity at all. The Muslims, every mosque, I'm thinking of Mecca there. No, you don't own Islam. But guess what? If somebody denies you your Christianity, your Islam, your Judaism, your Hindu, somebody denies and says, no, you can't be Hindu here, or you can't be Jewish here, or, put that cross away. We don't do that here. They just took your religion. They didn't just disrespect you. They took the religion from you. If you can't express your religious beliefs wherever you are at any time, the person who denies you that is taking your property. So now go forward. So how do you own or become more? And I breezed over this. I'm going to go back to it about when culture creates material products. Now, when culture creates material products, meaning like an album or a T-shirt or a book or, or maybe a sneaker, some kind of, Adidas did a JMJ sneaker.
Man, you finna hit on my next question. I ain't even got to ask it. Go ahead.
Well, you know what? Wait a minute. Shape the conversation. Go ahead and ask it.
No, I was going to basically say, you're talking about material things, and I was going to say, we got to get paid. You know what I mean? A rapper, you got to make a living. So rappers want to know, right. I wanted to ask you, what kind of advice do you have for hip hoppers that, want to get paid for their hip hop?
Right. And rightfully so. We have $1 billion culture with trillions of dollars is being made on hip hop. Yet, the participants in hip hop are the poorest in the world. How is that possible? How is it possible that we could say hip hop is the most streamed music in the world, the most streamed music in the world, and those who are streaming, the artists that are actually streaming the music, can't even afford to stay online to hear it. Okay, so go back now. You want to get paid for your art? Well, it's some simple shit you got to do. Simple stuff. We might have to bleep that. I'm sorry, I'm talking my regular talk.
You good?
Simple stuff you might have to do here. One, let's put a period on the last conversation in pertaining to this one. So you made a material item. You have something you want to sell to people. You have something like this. Now you're leaving culture and you're entering into commerce, which is the next step. Any successful culture is going to create a commerce. It's going to create a marketplace. People are trading things, selling things. People got ideas. They're even trading ideas. Fashion is going down. This is all a marketplace. This is all a marketplace. And so first, you on the culture side, as long as you can use and express your culture at any time, you own it and you have it and it is your property. The minute someone denies you the ability to express your culture, they took it from you. You can't use it. Now, go to the next. Now you're in commerce. We left culture now. We're done with culture. We want to sell something. We want to take the material effects of the culture and make a living off of it. Now you're entering commerce. Now, When we first started, when hip hop first began, the economy of hip hop was more communist. It was more socialist. Actually, it was more communist, meaning that, say, let's say Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, they would put a tape out. They would record one of their performances. They would record one of their park performances. And on that cassette, that would be the master. They recorded it. Grandmaster Flash just recorded it for himself right there. Melly Mel, Raheem, Scorpio, everybody rhyming. We made the tape. Now, from the tape, you would make copies of the tape and sell the tape. Mm-hmm. Now, it was understood back then that everyone who sold the tape, if you bought the tape from whoever, let's say you bought it from Grandmaster Flash himself. You bought the tape from Grandmaster Flash himself. It was understood that you could sell the tape too. Once you got the tape, it was yours. If you could duplicate it, you duplicated it. So people got the tape. They bought it for $10. Then they would duplicate the tape themselves and sell it for $10. And so, and then the person they sold it to could also sell it for $10. And the person they sold it to. Now, of course, the quality, every time you duplicate a cassette, the quality gets horrible and more horrible and more. This is not the digital age, okay? Right. This is analog, okay? This is cassette, this is tape. So every time you duplicated something, the quality would be horrible. Every time it would just keep going down. So, and after a while, you wouldn't even buy this thing anymore because you couldn't even hear anything on it. This is a blur, actually. But the community shared that $1 billion, though. The community shared the money. It wasn't one guy, Grandmaster Flash, says, I'll sell you the tape, and you can't sell it, even though you bought it. And anywhere on the planet, anything you buy, you own and can duplicate. Anything you buy, you own it, and you can duplicate it. But no, the FBI comes in on behalf of the record companies. And the record companies get the FBI up, and they say, yo, what we're going to do is destroy the indigenous market because they capitalists. They're against communism. They're against socialism, or so they say they are, until it's to their advantage. But if you just talk in strict economic terms, hip-hop begins communist. It begins with everybody sharing in the production of the work. Everybody sharing in on the wealth produced by the work. If I buy your cassette, I could sell your cassette. You could still sell your cassette. But I'm selling the cassette too. So I get a piece of that $1 billion. The guy who bought the cassette from me gets a piece of the $1 billion. The FBI came in after Rapper's Delight. The FBI came in and our cassette tapes, which was our economy, was deemed illegal. Kid Capri, the reason he's a legend is because he brought that system back. He brought the system back in the 90s and said, I don't care if it's illegal or not. We're going to do something called mixtapes. It's not vinyl. It's not that we're going to do mixtapes. That's the term he came up with, mixtapes. We're going to do mixtapes. So he took everybody's copywritten, trademark music and put it on a cassette and said, this is the new original product. You want it, buy it. And because it was illegal, everybody bought it. And if you bought a Kid Capri tape, you could duplicate it yourself and sell it for yourself. So this became an underground market, the mixtapes. Kid Capri got money, Doo-Wop got money, S&S got money. Everybody was getting money in that economy. But then the FBI comes and says, oh, no. There's such a thing called copyright laws and trademark laws, and this is in the Constitution. You can't just take somebody's music and sell it. Well, they came down on Kid Capri, came down on all the mixtape DJs, and then a company named Napster popped up.
Yeah.
When Napster came up, they took the mixtape shit they took the mixtape economy into the digital world. And the digital world didn't have rules. It didn't have the copyright, trademark rules. There's a whole new medium, okay? So now Napster starts just ganking people's music and just doing it. But then the record companies caught on and said, no, we want to be Napster. So they put Napster out of business and started this whole streaming thing, to which they're taking everybody's music and telling them, if you want your music heard or played, you got to stream it through one of our platforms. We make all the money on your music because everybody's paying us monthly subscriptions. We're going to give you pennies. We used to give you $1 or 50 cents or 75 cents on vinyl records and cassettes and CDs. Now you're getting pennies, 2 cents, 3 cents. You do 10 million streams, you could only see $4,000 on 10 million streams. And that's your music. And there's no other medium. There's no other medium. That's it. It's streaming. That's it. So now they took our economy from us. So go back to what is property. It is your ability to use whatever it is you think you own. So they took the entire mixtape economy and made it streaming. That's what they call it. They call it streaming. But it's the same concept. Same concept. Except, now imagine, when you buy something, you are restricted from duplicating it yourself. So not only does that cut into, because they say, well, that's going to cut into the artist's pocket. No, it don't. That's a lie. It don't cut into the artist's pocket. In fact, the more people that buy and sell your music, not only the more popular that you become, but if you have the clear copy, you can sell. It's like everybody else is basically advertising your album for you, which is what the mixtapes did. When Kid Capri got so wild with it that record companies were paying him to put their music on the mixtape. That's how wild he got with it, okay? Because they understand, if my music is being heard by 1 million people, I'm gonna get at least 10,000 of them, at least 100,000. But if you don't hear, if I can only hear your music in a streaming platform, then I'm owning you. You can't use your music. You can't sell your music. You can't promote your music. You can't do nothing unless these people at YouTube and Tidal and whoever else, these people, whoever is in control of media is now dictating the economy back to hip hop. And they're taking the community's economy and using it for themselves. That's why hip hop is $1 billion, $1 trillion culture. But the people participating in it can't see that money, can't feel that money. Now, here's the criminal part to it. The criminal piece, everything I just explained to you, is legal and right. And it's called capitalism. If I could take something from you, I will. If I can get away with it, I will. For capitalism. I could take something from you, your cassette, and deny you access to sell your own music through contracts. I give you $10,000 because you ain't got a dime on you right now. Mama sick, baby crying, rent due. You under the pressure. Here's 10 G's. Wow, that's like $1 billion to you right there. Here's 10 G's. But the person is going to make 40 million on you. 40 million is going to get made on you off of 10 G's. You sign the contract because the 10 G's is 40 million to you. You sign the contract. Plus, it's Sony. It's Universal. It's these people. So you're going to get played on the radio. They pump in your head with all types of you're going to get, and you're going to get, and you're going to get. And what happens is you never get it. Because once you sign the contract, you give up your right to use your culture your way. That's how they took your property. You remain broke and poor. while they go ahead and get 40 million because you gave them the culture. Did they take the culture from you? No, they didn't. They swindled you. They took it from you. They gave you a contract and a little bit of money, and you didn't know your own value. Because what? When people like Public Enemy, KRS, X-Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers, Lakim Shabazz, when we were talking and saying, no, forget this industry, do your own thing, be independent, everybody laughed. They said we were too preachy. They said, hey, who's this KRS guy? He think he all that. Who he think he is? He think he Jesus. He think he this and that. Man, forget him. They ran right to the guillotine, got their heads cut right off. Now I'm standing. I'm getting ready. I'm right now. Tomorrow I leave to go to Spain. 40 cities. We're making almost $1 million on this tour. This is independent. Okay, this is all independent. There's no white man behind me. This is nothing. My wife is behind me. That's who's behind me. My children are the CEOs. That's where this culture is. We own the culture because we are the culture. Now, go to the next level. So you want to sell a product. You want to sell a product. You want to eat. Well, first of all, you got to master your skills. Those who master anything eat. This is even outside of hip hop. This is just life. Anything that you master to yourself, and it has to be to yourself. You don't master somebody else's thing. That doesn't work. You master yourself. Self-mastery, knowledge of self. Anything you master to yourself, you're gonna eat. This is what people don't realize. They do 100 different things. They look at 20 different things and say, I'm gonna try to master all 20 of these things, and you don't master none of them. You have to pick one thing and master it. And once you master that, then go on to the next thing. Master that. Then go on to another thing. Master that. So in my case, I start off as a graffiti artist. And I mastered my graffiti trade. And so I started selling paintings, pictures, so on, so I can eat. But I've mastered my art, meaning if I show you my graph, you're going to be like, oh, man, I got to have that. This is clearly masterful work. This is clear. You ain't got to advertise mastery. You ain't got to sell mastery. You ain't got to lie about mastery. Mastery is mastery. And when you display that, everybody responds with $1. Everybody. The response to mastery is money. That's the response to it. Back in the days, if you did this is the Apollo Theater back in the days, it was the real Apollo Theater in Harlem. We used to, if you performed it at the Apollo, two things were going to happen to you. One is that either your performance would be deemed whack, and Harlem would throw things at you, eggs, all types of food items, whatever they were serving at the concession. They would throw it at you on the stage. Okay, if you was at a big boom, get off the stage. This is the Apollo Theater. Or if you was dope and you crushed it, they threw money on the stage. Everybody would throw money on the stage. And I've been, and the only reason I'm saying this is because I've been in this situation several times. I always have money thrown at me in the Apollo. We went there, I put a noose around Harlem's neck. And we dragged them all through criminal minded by all means necessary. By the time I was done, I had an extra $200 in crumpled up 5s and 10s and 20s on the stage. On the stage. This is what the projects is about. Back in the day, see, everybody's rhyming right now, and you just rap. Everybody just thinks that they could just rap, so you just start rapping. But back when we first started, somebody had to ask you to rap. You didn't just rap. Somebody had to ask you, yo, spit a rhyme. Or, yo, what you got today? Or if it was a cipher, somebody would point to you, yo, what you got? You know, it was disrespectful to just start rhyming, and nobody asked you to. Nobody wanted you to. No one cared less about what. But if you're a capitalist, and you just trying to sell somebody a product, then even if people don't ask you to rhyme, you rhyme into them because you want to sell them something. So you forcing yourself on people, saying, "Yo, listen to this." I didn't ask you to. I don't want to hear you. I didn't ask you to rhyme it up, but you want to sell a record. So you're pushing this on me now. You're pushing artists on me that I'm not even interested in. But because we're capitalists now, selling a product, I'm gonna push this on you, force this on you. So in this instance, if you a real MC, a real DJ, a real graffiti writer, a real B-boy, B-girl, the mastery of your skill is what's going to feed you. All the masters of hip-hop are wealthy people, all of us. There's not one master of this culture that is broke. Not one. Not one.
Man,
None of us.
Hey, bro, listen, man, I hate this. I hate to stop you, man, but I want to respect your time because I know you finna get ready to go on tour. I know about the stuff you've been doing since you've been down here in Florida. But yeah, man, I want to definitely give you a little bit of time to give your shout outs on my show, and anything you want to tell the people, you know what I'm saying, before I let you get up out of here. But bro, it has been, bro, listen, if you was down with it, you down with it, I would stay all night long, but I want to make sure you good for Spain, bro. So yeah, man, if you could just drop your shout outs, any social media, any links you want. I know you got the Temple of Hip Hop, all that good stuff, man. Go ahead and talk to the people.
Man, I appreciate it. Well, you just said Temple of Hip Hop. Obviously, to make it quick, you can go to thetempleofhiphop.org. That's thetempleofhiphop.org. You can see everything there. This is the first authentic or all hip hop cultural center. We erected it there in Newark, New Jersey. Shout out to the whole Newark, New Jersey, the Mayor Ross Baraka, Chief of Staff, Miri Baraka Jr. Shout out to the whole Newark, Latifah, Tretch, Naughty by Nature, Redman, everybody over there repping Newark. Over there. So big up to the Temple of Hip Hop. That's where we are. Those are the, if you're hearing us, take a trip over there, support the temple. And it's free as well. You go in, but there's knowledge all on the walls, all types of movies we play. The place is open every day, except Sunday, 6 days a week. You can go through, learn something, come through, this kind of thing. That's the temple. Got a new book out called My Philosophy. As the full title is My Philosophy, Hip Hop Beyond Entertainment. You can get that at myphilosophybook.com. That's myphilosophybook.com. It's a fiery book on philosophy. I'm arguing that Western philosophy is only half the story. And everybody knows this already. But when we think philosophy, we immediately think Greece. And it's not about that. The original philosophers were like the first humans, like Neanderthals and what they call prehistoric humans. It's a mental adventure, an intellectual adventure that I take you on in this book, which changes how you see things as well. So there's the book, there's the temple. I'm on tour now. Matter of fact, tomorrow the tour actually starts. I jump on this ship. I'm out, like you mentioned, to Spain as well. Let me thank those who have listened and have heard KRS-ONE for the past 40 years. There is no me without any of you, period, point blank, and it's clear. I understand where my power comes from. It comes from the people. It comes from the respect and the love that I receive from the people. I cannot be independent without my community supporting me and being independent. And let me tell you, hip hop as a community has supported me beyond anything I can ever even imagine. And think about this. It's global. It's worldwide, which is why I'm on my way to Barcelona right now. There's a whole hip hop community there that loves, respects me. We've been dealing with each other for at least the last 25 years. And this is what you got to know as well. We didn't talk about this, but I'll add this in if you could add it.
Definitely.
Get out the country. Get out the country. You want to sell your product? Don't sell it in America. Sell it overseas. Sell it to Africa. Africa's rich. Africa got so much money right now. Africans don't even know what to do. Okay? Go to sell your stuff to Africa. Sell your stuff to Australia. Sell your stuff to Europe. Europe has 100 different countries in Europe. Sell it to Spain. Sell it to France. Sell it to America's economy. It's not an entrepreneurial economy. It's a corporate economy. It doesn't support the entrepreneur like that. It supports corporate like that. So if you're really trying to be independent, you got to think globally. Connect your product to others in other countries. That's how you win. So we're going over there now, and really that's really the shout out. Shout out to everybody who write lyrics. Shout out to all the DJs that play real hip hop, real music, real. Shout out to all the b-boys with real moves, real graffiti artists is still hitting the freight trains. Big up to y'all. Big up to the beatboxers. Beatboxing is growing right now. Commercials are getting hit. People have whole concerts. Awards are getting given out just for beatboxing. Okay? That's my shout out. Shout out to hip hop worldwide.
Man, we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you. And this man said the response to your mastery is money. That was the answer to my question. He answered that question. Hey, man, listen, bro. Oh, man, listen. I got to plug this in before I let you go. This is the only time I've had, a bunch of celebrities on my show, man. And the only time I've ever had someone talk so much besides you was another brother from the Bronx was Cuban Link. Me and that brother talked for 2 hours.
Cuban Link, his mouth goes. He's Puerto Rican.
Yeah, man.
He might be Cuban.
Cuban. Yeah, man.
Right, he might be Cuban, right.
Well, anyway, man, both of y'all from the Boogie Down Bronx, man. Shout out to the Bronx, man, Hey, man, it was a pleasure, man. I love having you on the show, man. Would love to have you back again. Want to respect your time, man. Be safe over there overseas, and let the people know, what I'm saying? That was KRS-ONE on Surreal Talk Radio. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Y'all follow us on social media. Check us out on YouTube at Calico Surrealist. If you enjoyed the show, you want to show support, y'all contact WPRK at Rollins College. We thank you so much for rocking with us. We are out of here. Peace, my brother, man.
Peace to you. Thanks for the talk. We'll talk again.
For sure. All right, bro. Peace.